Elton John and Paul McCartney are two of the most iconic and beloved musicians of all time. Both have had long and successful careers, producing hit after hit, and have influenced countless other musicians. While they share many similarities, including their status as British knights, they also have distinct differences in their musical styles, songwriting, and personal lives. Early life and career. McCartney and John were born just a few months apart in 1942, and both grew up in working-class families in England. They both showed an early interest in music, with McCartney learning to play the guitar and piano and John taking up the piano at a young age. McCartney rose to fame as a member of the Beatles, while John started his career as a songwriter and performer in the late 1960s. Despite their different paths to success, both have had long and influential careers that have left an indelible mark on the music industry. Elton John and Paul McCartney are two of the most iconic and beloved musicians of all time. They both showed an early interest in music and have had long and successful careers. While they share many similarities, they also have distinct differences in their musical styles, songwriting, and personal lives. Early life and career. Elton John's beginnings. Elton John was born Reginald Kenneth Dwight on March 25, 1947, in Pinner, Middlesex, England. He showed an early aptitude for music and began playing the piano at the age of 4. By the time he was a teenager, he was already playing in local bands and had developed a reputation as a talented musician. In 1967, he responded to an advertisement for songwriters and was hired by Liberty Records as a staff songwriter. He wrote songs for a variety of artists, including Roger Cook and Lulu. In 1969, he released his debut album, Empty Sky, which received critical acclaim but failed to chart. Paul McCartney's beginnings. Paul McCartney was born on June 18, 1942, in Liverpool, England. He was raised in a musical family and learned to play the piano at a young age. In 1957, he met John Lennon and joined his band, the Quarrymen. The group eventually evolved into the Beatles, and McCartney became one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. As a member of the Beatles, McCartney wrote and performed some of the band's most iconic songs, including Yesterday, Hey Jude, and Let It Be. After the Beatles disbanded in 1970, McCartney formed the band Wings and continued to produce hit songs throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney had early beginnings in music and went on to become successful musicians. Musical style and influences. Elton John's style. Elton John is known for his flamboyant style and theatrical performances, which often include elaborate costumes and props. His music is characterized by its catchy melodies and memorable choruses, which have made him one of the most successful pop songwriters of all time. John's style is heavily influenced by rock and roll, blues, and gospel music, and he has cited artists such as Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis as major inspirations. He is also known for his collaborations with lyricist Bernie Taupin, who has written the majority of John's song lyrics throughout his career. Paul McCartney's style. Paul McCartney is best known for his work as a member of the Beatles, one of the most influential bands in the history of popular music. McCartney's musical style is characterized by his melodic songwriting, which often incorporates elements of folk, rock, and classical music. He is also known for his ability to play a wide variety of instruments, including bass guitar, piano, and drums. McCartney's influences include artists such as Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Little Richard, and he has cited classical composers such as Bach and Mozart as major inspirations as well. Overall, while both Elton John and Paul McCartney have distinct musical styles, they share a common love of rock and roll and a dedication to their craft that has made them two of the most successful musicians of all time. Songwriting and composition. Elton John's approach. Elton John's approach to songwriting is characterized by his collaboration with Bernie Taupin, who wrote the lyrics to many of his most popular songs. John would then compose the music to fit the lyrics, often incorporating elements of rock, pop, and classical music. He was known for his ability to create catchy melodies and his use of piano as a prominent instrument in his compositions. John's approach to songwriting was heavily influenced by his classical music training, which he incorporated into his pop and rock compositions. He often used complex chord progressions and harmonies to create a unique sound that set him apart from other songwriters of his time. He was also known for his ability to write songs quickly, often composing multiple songs in a single day. Paul McCartney's approach. Paul McCartney's approach to songwriting was heavily influenced by his time with the Beatles, where he collaborated with John Lennon to create some of the most iconic songs in music history. McCartney was known for his ability to write catchy melodies and his use of unconventional song structures. McCartney's approach to songwriting often involves starting with a melody or chord progression and then building the lyrics around it. He was also known for his use of experimental techniques, such as tape loops and backwards recording, to create unique sounds in his compositions. One of McCartney's strengths as a songwriter was his ability to write in a variety of genres, from rock and pop to classical and experimental music. He was also known for his ability to write both upbeat, catchy songs and emotional ballads that resonated with audiences. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney are highly respected songwriters who have made significant contributions to the music industry. While their approaches to songwriting differ, they both share a passion for creating memorable, timeless music that has touched the hearts of millions of people around the world. Commercial success. Elton John's achievements. Elton John is one of the most successful solo artists of all time. He has sold over 300 million records worldwide and has had more than 50 top 40 hits in the United States and the United Kingdom. His most successful album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, has sold over 31 million copies worldwide. In addition to his commercial success, Elton John has won numerous awards, including 5 Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, a Tony Award, and a Golden Globe Award. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994 and was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1998. Paul McCartney's achievements. Paul McCartney is one of the most successful musicians in history. As a member of the Beatles, he helped to revolutionize popular music and set the standard for future generations of musicians. After the Beatles disbanded, McCartney went on to have a successful solo career, selling over 100 million records worldwide. McCartney has won numerous awards, including 18 Grammy Awards and an Academy Award. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, first as a member of the Beatles in 1988 and then as a solo artist in 1999. In addition, he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1997 for his contributions to music. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney have had incredibly successful careers, selling millions of records and winning numerous awards. While Elton John has sold more records overall, Paul McCartney's contributions to music as a member of the Beatles cannot be overstated. Performance and showmanship. Elton John on stage. Elton John is known for his flamboyant style and extravagant performances. He is a true showman who knows how to captivate an audience. His stage presence is undeniable, and he has a way of making every song he performs feel like an event. Elton's shows are often accompanied by elaborate set designs, stunning lighting effects, and even costume changes. One of the most impressive things about Elton John's performances is his ability to connect with his audience. He has a way of making everyone in the crowd feel like they are a part of the show. Whether he is playing to a packed stadium or an intimate theater, Elton always manages to create a sense of intimacy and connection with his fans. Paul McCartney on stage. Paul McCartney is another legendary performer who knows how to put on a show. His concerts are a mix of classic hits and new material, and he always manages to keep the energy level high. McCartney's shows are often accompanied by impressive pyrotechnics, stunning visuals, and a full band. One of the most impressive things about McCartney's performances is his ability to still sound great after all these years. His voice has aged well, and he still has the same energy and enthusiasm he had back in his Beatles days. McCartney also has a great sense of humor and often engages with the audience between songs, making for a fun and entertaining show. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney are masters of performance and showmanship. They know how to put on a great show and keep their audiences entertained from start to finish. Awards and recognition. Elton John's awards. Elton John is one of the most successful musicians of all time, having sold over 300 million records worldwide. His contributions to the music industry have been recognized with numerous awards and honors. He has won 5 Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Legend Award and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. He has also won an Academy Award, a Tony Award, and a Golden Globe Award. In addition to these prestigious awards, Elton John has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He was also appointed a Commander of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, in 1995 and was later knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1998 for his contributions to music and charitable work. Paul McCartney's awards. Paul McCartney is widely regarded as one of the most influential musicians of all time. He has sold over 100 million records worldwide and has won numerous awards and honors throughout his career. He has won 18 Grammy Awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award and the Trustees Award. In addition to his Grammy Awards, Paul McCartney has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, first as a member of the Beatles and then as a solo artist. He has also been inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the UK Music Hall of Fame. Paul McCartney has been awarded the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 1965 and was later knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1997 for his contributions to music. He has also been recognized for his charitable work, including his support of animal rights and his work with organizations such as PETA and the David Lynch Foundation. Collaborations and influences. Elton John's collaborations. Elton John has collaborated with numerous artists throughout his career, including George Michael, Lady Gaga, and Eminem. However, one of his most notable collaborations was with fellow British musician, John Lennon. The two worked together on Lennon's hit single Whatever Gets You Through the Night, which Elton also performed with Lennon during his Madison Square Garden concert in 1974. Additionally, Elton and Lennon recorded a version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds together. Another significant collaboration for Elton was with lyricist Bernie Taupin, who has written the lyrics for the majority of Elton's songs. The two have been working together since the late 1960s and have produced some of Elton's most iconic hits, including Your Song, Rocket Man, and Tiny Dancer. Paul McCartney's collaborations. Like Elton John, Paul McCartney has collaborated with a wide range of artists over the years. One of his most famous collaborations was with Michael Jackson on the hit single Say Say Say. The two also worked together on The Girl Is Mine and The Man. McCartney also collaborated with Stevie Wonder on the hit song Ebony and Ivory, which addressed racial harmony. He also worked with Kanye West on the song 4-5 Seconds and with Rihanna on Only Girl in the World. In terms of influences, both Elton John and Paul McCartney have been influenced by a variety of musicians and genres. Elton has cited Little Richard, Elvis Presley, and the Beatles as some of his biggest influences. McCartney, on the other hand, has cited Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and Carl Perkins as some of his early influences. Both musicians have also been influenced by classical music, with Elton incorporating classical elements into some of his songs and McCartney composing classical music pieces. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney's collaborations and influences have contributed to their legendary status in the music industry. Legacy and impact. Elton John's legacy. Elton John has left a significant mark on the music industry through his unique style and sound. He has sold over 300 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. He has won numerous awards, including 5 Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, and a Tony Award. Elton John's legacy also includes his philanthropic work, particularly for HIV/AIDS charities. In 1992, he founded the Elton John AIDS Foundation, which has raised over $450 million to support HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment, and care programs around the world. Paul McCartney's legacy. Paul McCartney's legacy as a musician, songwriter, and composer is unparalleled. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest musicians of all time, having sold over 100 million records as a solo artist and over 600 million records as a member of the Beatles. McCartney has also received numerous awards, including 18 Grammy Awards, and has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. McCartney's legacy also includes his activism for animal rights and his support for various charities, including the Make Poverty History campaign and the Adopt a Minefield campaign. Overall, both Elton John and Paul McCartney have had a significant impact on the music industry and beyond. Their contributions to music, philanthropy, and activism have inspired generations of musicians and fans alike. Personal life and philanthropy. Elton John's offstage. Offstage, Elton John has had a well-documented history of substance abuse and addiction, but he has been sober since 1990. He has been open about his struggles with addiction and has used his platform to raise awareness about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse. John is also a prominent philanthropist and has donated millions of dollars to various charitable causes, including HIV/AIDS research and treatment. In 1992, he founded the Elton John AIDS Foundation, which has raised over $450 million to date. In addition to his philanthropic work, John is also an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. He came out as gay in 1988 and has been a vocal supporter of the LGBTQ+ community ever since. He has used his music to raise awareness about LGBTQ+ issues and has been recognized for his contributions to the community with numerous awards and honors. Paul McCartney's offstage. Paul McCartney has been married 3 times and has 5 children. He is known for his vegetarianism and animal rights activism. McCartney is a supporter of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, and has used his platform to raise awareness about animal cruelty and the benefits of a vegetarian lifestyle. McCartney is also a philanthropist and has donated millions of dollars to various charitable causes, including cancer research and animal welfare. In 1995, he established the Linda McCartney Center in memory of his late wife, Linda McCartney, who died of breast cancer. The center provides specialized care and support for cancer patients and their families. In addition to his philanthropic work, McCartney is also an advocate for environmentalism and has been recognized for his contributions to the field with numerous awards and honors. He has used his music to raise awareness about environmental issues and has been a vocal supporter of renewable energy and sustainable living. Discography and notable works. Elton John's discography. Elton John has released a total of 33 studio albums, 5 live albums, 7 soundtrack albums, 16 compilation albums, and 3 extended plays. His debut album, Empty Sky, was released in 1969, and it was followed by Elton John in 1970. Some of his most famous albums include Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, 1973, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, 1975, and Too Low for Zero, 1983. Elton John's most successful single is Candle in the Wind 1997, which sold over 33 million copies worldwide and became the best-selling single in history. Other notable singles include Rocket Man, Tiny Dancer, and Benny and the Jets. In addition to his solo work, Elton John has collaborated with a number of artists, including George Michael, Eminem, and Lady Gaga. Paul McCartney's discography. Paul McCartney has released a total of 25 studio albums, 7 live albums, 12 compilation albums, and 4 extended plays. His debut album, McCartney, was released in 1970, and it was followed by Ram in 1971. Some of his most famous albums include Band on the Run, 1973, Flaming Pie, 1997, and Egypt Station, 2018. As a member of the Beatles, Paul McCartney was involved in the creation of some of the most iconic albums in music history, including Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, 1967, and Abbey Road, 1969. Some of his most successful singles include Maybe I'm Amazed, Live and Let Die, and Say Say Say, a collaboration with Michael Jackson. In addition to his solo work, Paul McCartney has collaborated with a number of artists, including Stevie Wonder, Kanye West, and Rihanna. He has also composed music for a number of films, including Live and Let Die and The Family Way.